Welcome back to HGTV Handmade. The walls in my apartment have been bare for way too long, so today I finally created a mini gallery wall out of framed fabric, and I want to show you guys how I did it. For this project, the first thing you'll need is fabric. The fabric I used is from the HGTV Home Collection, and I chose these three patterns to complement my blue couch. Even though the patterns are very different, they all have a dark blue color in common, so it still feels pretty cohesive. You'll also need scissors, something to mark your fabric with, painter's tape, and materials to hang your frames with. I'm using these adhesive strips because I'm a renter and I don't want to damage my walls, and these strips are actually capable of hanging up to 16 pounds, so they were a good option for me, but choose whatever fits your living space the best. You should also have measuring tape, a leveling tool, and some picture frames. Flip your frame over and remove the backing. First, you'll have to peel back these prongs either with pliers or with your fingers. The frame comes with this white mat that I'm not going to keep in the frame, but I am going to use to trace the fabric so that it fits perfectly inside of the frame. The next thing I did was cut the fabric out. At this point, all I had to do was reassemble the frame. I put the glass in first, then the fabric, then the cardboard backing. The final step is to bend back the prongs, and honestly, this was my least favorite part. It made my fingers a little sore after doing this to multiple picture frames, but it was definitely worth it because I loved the result. I repeated these steps with 3 different fabrics, making 2 frames out of each fabric for a total of 6. The hardest part about this project was figuring out the spacing for the gallery wall. I started by using painter's tape to roughly outline what I wanted it to be the borders of the gallery wall. These pieces of tape aren't completely straight, but I basically just didn't want to go beyond the edges of my couch, so I marked these borders. Then I moved my couch out of the way and started to outline the frames with tape, and I made sure to get these pieces completely straight. Here's how I did it. My frames are 16 by 16, so I cut 16-inch strips of tape. I used a leveling tool to make sure that I placed them in straight lines. Once I made sure the bubble was completely centered, I placed the tape. I used my measuring tape to space each frame 2 inches apart. About halfway through, I found that using this large ruler was much more helpful than the measuring tape, and it took me about a half hour to place all of the tape. And before I committed to putting the frames up, I actually moved the couch back against the wall one last time just to make sure that I liked the placement. The final step was to place the frames. I obviously had to remove the tape before I could put the frames down, so I marked the corners with pencil first so that I'd have marks to guide me, and then I used adhesive strips on the back of the frames because they weren't too heavy, so all I had to do was press the frames into the wall after making sure they were completely level. And that's all there is to it. This was very easy and very renter friendly, so if you also are in an apartment, I highly recommend doing something similar. So which pattern was your favorite? Let me know in a comment down below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back next Friday for a new video. Bye guys!